today I'm very honored to have a good friend of mine in studio with me, and there's a reason I brought you to the studios is because I don't know of anybody better to speak about this topic than to speak about gratitude, and especially a Christian perspective on gratitude. Jean Pelser, welcome.
Thank you, Rudolph. Thanks so much for having me.
Just maybe for a short introduction, maybe you just want to tell people where you are, what you do, and why this topic is so important to you.
So gratitude came to me as a surprise. I was enrolled for a master's degree at Cambridge, and I actually had a spiritual experience where I was just in awe of God and of who God is, and also the opportunity I had of getting to Cambridge. And my heart was just flooded with gratitude. And it was the first time that I felt gratitude as a visceral experience, like in my body and emotional. And I became deeply curious about gratitude. I just wanted to know more about this. And then eventually I spoke to my supervisor and decided to do a thesis on gratitude. But I'm actually a teacher, or used to be a teacher beforehand, and I decided to look at gratitude in the context of education, like teacher gratitude and how that transforms and impacts on education. So I ended up doing a master's degree at Cambridge on the topic of gratitude.
That's amazing. Yeah, I dare to say that gratitude is very important for our own mental health. Do you maybe want to talk a little bit about that and say, why is gratitude so important for that aspect of our life?
So gratitude and the science behind it, there's some robust science backing the efficacy of gratitude to improve mental health. There's a famous TED talk by Brother David Steindl-Rast. It says, if you want to be happy, be grateful. But there's proper science behind it. Actually, people who practice gratitude, experimental studies have shown that they have better well-being than people who don't practice gratitude. They experience better health, better sleep, and strangely enough, people who practice gratitude tend to exercise more, is what one of the studies found.
Sure.
But there is robust science backing up gratitude. But what gratitude does is when we start thinking about the good in our lives and all the gifts we receive, it sparks positive emotion. And positive emotion can really tip us over towards feeling good feelings and feeling happier. But gratitude also moves us away from a couple of things. It might move us away from a sense of entitlement. It might move us away from resentment, because resentment is actually the theoretical opposite of gratitude.
Sure.
And it can also bring us to a place where we decide to stop complaining and start giving thanks. So there's some real robust science behind that.
That's amazing. Life is tough. I mean, everybody all over the world have experienced in one way or another something in their lives that they would say, I cannot be grateful for this thing that has happened in my life or what is around me in this life. Where do we start with gratitude? What do we need to recognize? Where do we begin to foster this life of gratitude?
So gratitude, it's difficult to be grateful in the midst of adversity, but it's possible. We can't be grateful for everything. That would just be inappropriate. So there are appropriate times to be grateful for the appropriate thing.
Yeah, for sure.
But perhaps we'll touch more on this when it comes to gratitude in Christianity. But yes, it's possible in adversity to find one thing, even if it's one, that we can focus on that's good and that we find beneficial, and that can really give us some strength and inner resilience in tough times.
From a biblical perspective, what does the Bible say about gratitude?
Okay, so from a biblical perspective, it's pretty straightforward. Scholars speak about gratitude is composed of the following. There are three things involved. It's a benefactor. In Christianity, this would be God. There is a benefice, which is the gift, and then there's the beneficiary. So this is referred to as the 3 Bs. So in a Christian sense, it's very straightforward. God is the ultimate benefactor, the giver of all good gifts.
Yeah.
God gives us many blessings, and we are the beneficiaries. So, but in short, we can never truly repay God for what He's given to us. for the ultimate gift, which is Jesus.
Yeah, for sure.
So gratitude is often more of a token that we show acknowledgement for having received something. And what we can give God is thanks.
Yeah, that is amazing. If you look at people around you, how do you spill gratitude? For instance, to your spouse or to your children, how do you foster that in them?
I think it's very important, socializing children with gratitude. We start with the first level of gratitude. Gratitude has many layers. So one of the first layers, and the easiest one, would be good manners.
Yeah.
Say thank you to the auntie, say thank you to uncle, say thank you for mom, and then that's just good manners. But then being grateful is to truly appreciate what you already have and to give thanks for that. I'm a minimalist. So gratitude comes in like really wanting what I have and not wanting more. But I think gratitude is chiefly has to do with recognition. Like, do I give my spouse enough recognition for what they do for me? Do I say thank you? And gratitude it can be simple, it can be profound, but saying thank you, but recognizing that we perceive the good intention of the person who gives to us. See, motivation is very important when it comes to gratitude. I have to believe that someone who wants to benefit me are doing it from a pure heart, a pure motive. They don't want to keep me indebted. But also as a beneficiary, I need to have pure motives of saying thank you, not expecting more things in return.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good point. How do I cultivate gratitude in a manner that it becomes a practice? Or let me rather say, what practices can I actually do to cultivate gratitude in my life?
So from a positive psychology perspective, something that's quite popular that many people know and practice would be something called the 3 good things exercise, where someone would sit maybe perhaps at the end of the day and write down 3 good things that they are grateful for. That's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. But in a Christian sense, we are called to practice gratitude. We are actually called to cultivate gratitude as a virtue, as a habit, as a practice. In Ignatian spirituality, doing the daily examen starts with the first step, and the first step is give thanks. We can become more reflective in order to practice gratitude. We can look back on our day through God's eyes, asking God's perspective, asking God to shed light on the day that we've lived, and then try to, at least as a practice, see our life and the day we've lived through the lens of gratitude and having eyes open to the gifts we've received.
You've mentioned that in some of the Ignatian spirituality that is that quality of gratitude that you start with. How can we integrate gratitude in our prayer lives?
So many liturgical prayers are already imbued with the language of thanksgiving. Lots of Anglican prayers, for example, would have the prayer of general thanksgiving, which is very much focused on giving God thanks for our creation, our preservation, and all the gifts of this life. But chiefly, the greatest gift is the gift of Jesus Christ. So liturgical prayers are focused on gratitude and thanksgiving, but mostly focusing on the ultimate gift, which is the gift of God Himself. And that really inculcates a kind of gratitude within us. Also the Eucharistic prayer, or in the liturgy, we would have, I think Eucharist means thank offering or thanksgiving. There are also times where the priest would say, let us give thanks to the Lord. And then the congregation would answer, it is meet for us to do so. Yeah. It is appropriate. It is in fact our duty to give God thanks. So yes, through liturgy, through formal worship, there's also lots of prayers already established focused on gratitude.
Maybe you can mention some of the effects of living a life of gratitude.
So I've mentioned earlier about gratitude's opposite is that of resentment. So they are polar opposites. But we can't replace resentment with gratitude. It works on a scale. So the more we move away from resentment towards gratitude, we move away from that. So a Christian life recognized or characterized by resentment is not a good Christian life.
For sure.
So living a life of gratitude, moving away from resentment, often involves forgiveness, which lies at the heart of the Christian faith.
Sure.
We've been forgiven, and we are called to do the impossible. We are called to forgive others. So in practice, that's what a life of gratitude would look like. We would try to work out our resentment. And resentment, doing is something called resentment work to keep our relationships healthy. That often involves a kind of confrontation where we should stop avoiding and actually go and speak to the person who we feel resentment towards,
Yeah, for sure.
to try and clear the air. Yeah.
So in a way, that speaks of me including others in my pursuit of gratitude and me negating, resentment. What are some other ways that I can cultivate to practice that attitude of gratitude towards people outside of my own context?
So at the heart of gratitude lies a desire to give back. So whenever we feel that we've been the beneficiary of someone's kindness, it is about meeting kindness with kindness, reciprocating, finding ways, even if you don't settle the score, you're not giving back equally, but you are showing some token demonstration that you recognize someone's been good to you.
Sure.
So that can take many forms. A gratitude practice can be very unique. People might be able to make tailor-made practices in their own life, but just some token appreciation and recognition of having received kindness, meeting kindness with kindness.
Well, thank you so much. I wish we could go a lot longer, but maybe next time we could speak about the merits of gratitude and maybe pursue this conversation a little bit further. But where can people reach you if they want you to come talk, for instance, about gratitude at their church, or maybe if they have a question about gratitude? Do you have any email or place where they can contact you?
I have an email address which I can share, and people are welcome to email me, or they can try and look me up on Instagram or Facebook. I'm Jean Pelser. My email address is pelser, PELSERJ @gmail.com. And yeah, people can get in touch.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. I think people need to hear this often and be reminded of this very often. And thank you so much for your time with
You're
us
welcome.
today.
Thank you.
Thanks.